Welcome to the Belize Tourism Futures podcast, where we dive into the dynamic world of Belizean tourism. I'm your host, Lorenzo Gonzalez. In each episode, we bring you innovative ideas, insightful interviews, and the latest trends shaping the future of travel in Belize. This project is made possible by the generous support of the Emerging Ventures Grant by George Mason University's Marquita Center, Belizeing.com, and the Lodge at Chalk Creek. Today, we are happy to welcome our guest Eddie Polanco, General Manager at Turneffe Island Resort, which is a private island resort that offers world-class diving and fly fishing in the heart of one of Belize's largest atoll and marine reserves. Welcome, Eddie.
Hey,
Can you share a bit about your background and how you got started in the tourism industry?
so believe it or not, I come from a farming background. Nothing to do with service and all. All we did was feed animals, grow oranges, and whatever a farm has, right? But slowly, I started to go to school and I made it up to tertiary and I started working for a company in the banana industry. And I really liked it in the beginning, but it got boring after a few years. So I was like, I don't think this was meant for me. Yeah. Keep in mind, I was an outdoor person coming from a farming background. I wasn't used to being enclosed in four walls all the time, so it wasn't working out. I really liked it. It was nice. I had air conditioning, I had everything that you have, but it wasn't my place. And I moved to Belize City to start studying with the University of Belize. They were just starting their program with tourism and hospitality management. Horrible. Their program was bad. Unfortunately, I couldn't proceed. I was working at this time for my Air doing human resources again in an office. But my goal was to get out there to be something else. I had already encountered people in the tourism industry. I used to drive for a guy that had a tour company, and people really loved the way I expressed myself about Belize and the history. I had all this background, right? So it was really easy for me. And they said, you know what? You have something there that you can work on. You should pursue something in tourism and hospitality. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should. University was having a fair. They were having something at St. John's where they were recruiting more people. The university was just starting up. So I ended up going and I really loved their program. So I decided to give it a try. Moved to Cayo then, to the heart of tourism, and it was really nice to meet the new people there. I had some family around there, but I wouldn't go a lot. And being there in a very small school and then just getting involved in all this was very nice. And that's how I transitioned into this industry. And I got out of school, started from the bottom, started from front office, moving myself up the ladder, and slowly now I manage this place here. So that's what got me here.
Yeah. And when was this? How many years ago? Do you recall the year?
In 2010, officially, I graduated from Gillen University with a bachelor's degree in tourism and hospitality management. I did some internships around and then eventually studied here that same year in December. And I've been working for this company since. I did Broken Service. I went to Black Rock Lodge, which was another amazing place in Kaya. I really wanted to try something other than the marine side. So I ended up at Black Rock in the jungle, really close to your home. And it was a very, really nice experience. Again, I knew a lot of people in Cayo, and it was eye opening. The things that were being done there came back here to the company, and a lot of things we incorporated. There's a lot of similarities and stuff. So, yeah, that's been my journey right there.
Oh, yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah, no. When I thought that you went from being at a beach resort to a jungle lodge, in particular one that well known for birding, I recall finding that really interesting. I was like, wow, these are top resorts that you're at. I was happy for your success. Can you perhaps guide us and let us know, like, How did you come about deciding where you wanted to work? Like, did someone help you get into these different resorts, or did you just have a goal that you wanted to work at specific places?
Yeah, honestly, when I got out of school, I got the job offer again at the airline company. And I just questioned myself. I'm like, do you really want to go back to that place and just let your degree sit there doing nothing? Or would you like to put it in practice, right? So, no. There was no one to guide me going to where I wanted to. I just had the focus of what I wanted to do. My goal was one day I'll manage a place. I didn't know where, right? But there has to be a start. There was an offer at Turneffe Resort for front office, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it. When I did the interview, they didn't want to give me the job for the front office, mainly because they said that I was a bit overqualified for the position.
Oh,
And I was like, no, it doesn't matter. I said, I just graduated from school. I just want to start somewhere. And the people were really nice. They gave me the opportunity. I showed them my potential. And I went from there. As of for Black Rock, I really chose Black Rock. I chose that I wanted to work there. And I pushed the managers that were at the time and the owner to hire me. Like I sold myself really well. And I got through. I was the last interviewee at the place. I can still remember
hmm.
this. And it took them a while to call me back. But when they called me, they said, you're in the top three. I said, I don't want to be the top three. I want to be the one that you hire. And I was hired. Yeah. So it was a really great experience. I really wanted to be there. Yes. Like I really wanted to work for Black Rock Lodge. I read about them, the sustainable program, solar, hydro. I mean, they're doing it really right. I really wanted to be there. I wanted to learn the ways of doing stuff and plus the birds.
Yeah. So you're really into birding. I guess that was a major motivator. What made you get into birding?
Again, it all comes from your background as a child. I grew up around the bushes, as you may say. And I saw these colorful critters. I would go back to my teachers at the time in primary school and ask them if they knew what was the name of this bird. Because I didn't know. My parents didn't know. They didn't
Mhm.
care either, right? All my dad knew was parrots were not good because they ate the fruits. But otherwise, we didn't know the real names of these birds. They were just like made up names. But I would go back to my teacher and ask him. I remember the first bird's name I asked was the brown jay because I was writing a script on a bird and I wanted to write about the brown jay. And at the time, the local name is Piam Piam. So I was like, I can't use Piam Piam. That's not the name of the bird. So I went over and he's, yeah, it's called the brown jay. And I would never forget it because they're so common in Belize. But that was an
Yeah, yeah.
initiation for me and just going around looking at all the nice species. We were located in a very nice area where we got all the migrating birds and a lot of residents also. So yeah, that's where my passion came from.
Okay, no, I do want to ask you a little bit more about your current like day-to-day life at Turneffe. But just before we jump into that question, like you mentioned something really interesting earlier about um you going to University of Belize in Belize today, and they had a tourism management degree, but it wasn't the right fit for you. Can you please elaborate what you mean by wasn't a good fit for you, and what made your studying in Galen University a better experience?
I think that, like I said, the University of Belize was just initiating their program. There was a lot of miscommunication in their program. I don't think they were serious about it. I was serious about my schooling because I was paying for it. So I really wanted for it to work. And what made a difference in Galen University was that we were such a small group of people. I think maybe 30, 40 max students at the university. So I can, I knew everyone. Everyone was doing something different, but we knew everyone there and it felt like family. So it's a very small, unique spot. So all in all, great professors, really amazing professors there. So that made a whole lot of difference for me too. I really liked it. I just went to try it out. I said I'll try a semester and see how it works, and I just got engaged. I met you guys, met a lot of friends, a lot of people that I know I still remember, and still keep in touch with a lot of people from that university.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Just to add a little bit more context to our conversation for the audience, this is where I met Eddie. So Eddie was a part of my class, and I recall being at Galen University. And what I really enjoyed was that at the time they had a lot of like really qualified professors, like people. They would bring in individuals from U.S. and a few fats that decided to move to Belize, and then they were able to be lecturers at Galen University, and I was able to learn. We were able to learn a lot from them. So yeah, that was a great time. It's good to reminisce. Okay, yeah. Moving on. What is the typical day in your role as a general manager at Turneffe Island Resort?
In the tourism industry, it's hard to pinpoint exact roles because you do it all. No matter which company you work for, it can be jungle, it can be here, safari, wherever. It's the same responsibility. You're in charge of everything, and everything will come back to you if you don't take care of. So day-to-day responsibilities is just to make sure, mainly the main focus of in the tourism industry is to have satisfied guests. Your main focus for everyone and your main role is to have people that leave with a smile. And at the end of the day, have them come back if possible. And that gain you a lot of points. You actually feel proud of yourself. Here we see people over and over, people that keep coming back. So service is one of the biggest things that you have to focus on. But again, we have 17 boats. One day an engine doesn't start, you got to jump in there and see what's up. We got to try to troubleshoot that engine along with the mechanics. I don't do the mechanics. I have a full-time outboard mechanic that does that. But still, I have to be there present to make sure that it's happening. Apologizing to the guests, first of all, if that boat needed to go, or trying to organize another boat to take them on their activity so that it seems seamless as if nothing has happened, right? I just want to make it run smooth. But, remotely out here, we have to make our own water. We don't have any water lines attached to Belize City, and we don't have any freshwater sources here. We're below sea level, so it's all salt. So, day to day, make sure that we have water for people to drink and take a shower at the end of the day and enjoy themselves. We have solar, so make sure that is working also. We have generators as backup also because you have to. It's a full-time operation. We have a full village here at the back with staff. Oh, we employ 65 staff. So we got to make sure that the staff also is taken care of. We feed all of our staffs. They don't pay a penny here to live. So everything is taken care of. So we have to make sure that everyone is taken care of. So it's not just the guest side, it's also the staff. You got to have happy guests. But before you have happy guests, you have to have very happy staff also. Otherwise, you're going to have a staff that's all frustrated and take it out of the guests. And then it all reflects back on the resort and management. We have a diving operation. We have to make sure that everyone is safe. So again, the dive team has to follow certain guidelines, and they have to do boat checks in the morning. They have to check their equipment, check the guests' equipment, and we'll make sure that they're doing that. We also have snorkeling people going out, so we have to make sure that they have their safety gear, do their radio checks every time they're out. We have fishing vessels out, make sure that the equipment is good, it's not broken, make sure that they have also their radios. We also carry a system called Spot, which is a satellite-based messenger. So if they get in trouble, they're out of range for the radios, which we don't go far, but we just make sure that they have another source of communication. So again, we have to tell them in the morning, you guys remember to send us a message wherever you are, just to make sure that your devices are working in the event that something happens, and as soon as something goes wrong, an engine fails, they send us a message, a calls on the radio, and we're there in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. And people are like, wow, you guys move really fast. And it's just because of that. We have to keep that service going. And that's what people really like. First of all, people want to have good service and also feel safe. at any location that they visit. Because if you're not feeling secure, then why would you be there, right?
Yeah, I can tell it takes a lot of commitment. You gotta love your job because you need to be on 24/7. There's a lot of work and effort, but also like responsibility that some people might not want to have. Wow, that's very interesting. What skills and experiences do you believe are essential for someone looking to pursue a career in resort management, especially in remote locations like where you are?
So first of all, you gotta be committed and have a mindset of this is what I want to do, because it's not an easy road for someone that comes, and especially if you have kids, younger kids. This is a private island. You cannot bring any other family members out. You work here, and that's pretty much it, right? So if you decide that you want to start a family, you got to think about who's going to take care of your children. And also, if you're in my position, then it takes you longer to go back to the mainland. So, first of all, you have to decide how long you want to be doing this, or if you want to do it for the rest of your life. So, it's something that you have to question yourself first. All right. And then, depending on the location you're working, if you're working in the jungle, then you got to gear up for that. If you're working in a remote island like here, then you got to be thinking about being able to swim, first of all. You come here and you can't swim. This is a 12-acre island surrounded by water. Yeah, there's boats, but it's water, right? So you got to know to swim. If you're embarking in doing a position like mine, then you got to equip yourselves with something. First of all, learn some boating skills. You need to know that. I drive our Pro 48 boats back and forth. Sometimes the captain is not feeling well. Someone has to do the job, right? Someone has to take it out. You're not feeling well, you're not going to be on the trip. So I have to take the trip. I have to do it myself. I'm a dive master also. So one of my dive team members is not feeling well that day. There I go, jump in the water. I'm a tour guide also. You gotta be a tour guide, so you gotta get that in order to lead people. So I'm a tour guide also. You gotta jump in and cover up for whatever position it cannot go out. Also, same with the fishing. So one of the fly fishing guys is not feeling well. I'll substitute them also. Like I'll just go for a day. I would not go for an entire week because I decided not to. If that's what I wanted to pursue, then I would have embarked in a different career of being a fly fisherman or a boat captain, but I can do it all, right? I can do a bit of everything. So I can definitely cover up for 1, 2 days. Meanwhile, we sort out another person so that people don't lose their time here. Yeah. So if you want to be in a position and you know that this is requirements, maybe they're not requirements, but you just want to be skilled enough to fit, because an employer is going to look at how many skills you have before he hires you, right?
Yeah, very interesting. So yeah, similar to other jobs, like you need to try to acquire as many skills as possible. How do people go about doing that though? Like, do the owners of lodges allow their employees to be able to, like, if they show initiative, like cross different roles?
Yeah. So most owners and most managers, we love when someone has multiple skills, because then you can use them for many things. So yes, in training, I would just ask randomly who wants to learn to dive. I have a young staff and give them the opportunity to start learning to dive from the basics. Take them to do what we call a discovery scuba, which is just check it out, see if you like it. Because a lot of people are fearful of water, and actually, humans are fearful of the unknown. But whilst people are here, we educate our staff. We show them photos, videos of what people are doing. People rave about it. And slowly, they're young, they want to learn, and we give them the opportunity. Same with boating. We start them with small boats, take it, park it here. Whosoever, you can see it. There's staff that has the initiative. There's staff that doesn't care, right? There's staff that can be working for a place for 40 years and all they want to do is rake the beach or cut the grass. They feel comfortable enough with that, right? That's all they want to do. Or maybe just want to want to weld something or want to change props, whatever. But it's just the initiative. The initiative has to come from the individual. Otherwise, you cannot force anyone, right? So yes, people, owners, management would always want to be able to cross train people. Always have people cross trained because the moment you miss someone, you can set them in, right? We even go beyond the call and we get a person out here every year, every 2 years or so to do the Belize Tourism tour guide training. We use Miss Luz Hunter, which is an amazing lady. If any one of you want to be trained in that department, she's the best. She's really good, one of the best trainers that there are. We bring her out here. We ask the staff who would like to engage in this program. And you would have a list of 15, and then the list starts to shrink and shrink. And then when she's actually here, then you have like 5 people. 5 people actually are very committed that they want to do it, 5 or 7 people, and we're paying for everything. We pay for her to stay here. We give her all her accommodation, everything. And we just want to make people, and when I say make more people, it's just get them trained.
Yeah, this is really great to hear that your organization values professional development and training. And I'd say if there are any ambitious new tourism professionals, like this is something to look out for. Like if you go to an organization and you realize that there aren't opportunities for training and development for increasing your skills and be able to grow in your career, then you should definitely seek out places like similar to Turneffe Island Resort, where the company actually invests in their employees and wants them to be able to develop themselves so that they can like go on to do different jobs and one day ultimately end up like Eddie and be the general manager. This is really wonderful to hear. Uh, yeah, and if you don't mind, can you also share like what are some of the unique challenges that you face running a lodge in a remote location, and how do you overcome them?
Challenges we meet here are occasionally water shortage. We've never run out of water, but like I said, water here is very essential. Most places just live off the rainwater and have a well. We don't. We have to make our own water. So we take the seawater and turn it into fresh water with reverse osmosis machines. So that's a challenge in itself because it's salt going through your machines. Salt doesn't play with anything. Salt is unforgiving to everything. So fighting salt is one of the major challenges here. Nail, screws, everything rusts. You can never say you build something to last you 20 years. You would have to replace something within 5 to 10 years all the time, right? Nothing lives doesn't have a long lifespan because of the salt. I would say also human resources. When I say that, it's employees. We don't have that many employees readily available because we're not in an area where people are available because of the remoteness we are, right? So, say we get some guests in, they just came and said, you know what, we just want to chill, relax this week. We're just gonna sit around the pool, have cocktails, and then when they're here, 2 days later, they're like, you know what, we just want to, all of us just want to start diving, or all of us want to start snorkeling. I don't have the personnel to call right now. I cannot just call someone. Hey, I need you right now in an hour's time. You do a trip for me. I know like places in the mainland, like, I was at Black Rock and someone just decided, okay, well, I really want to do a tour. Call someone is like, you know what, in 20 minutes or 40 minutes from San Ignacio, the person would be there and do the tour, right? Here it's different. Our distance is a lot larger. Well, almost similar, but it's just what you need to cross, right? There's a lot of water in between here and Belize City. So the weather can be a factor of that, not allowing you to get a boat fast enough to do it. So, it's hard. So that's another challenge we have. Um, Fresh fruits, uh, vegetables. What else? Common parts, parts for your boats, parts for the water maker. If something breaks, then you're again 36 miles away offshore. What do I do? You cannot just run to the store next door and buy whatever you needed, right? Like a part went bad. I can call anyone from here, but I cannot access them right away. So it'll take me, it's an hour and a half to Belize City, an hour and a half back. So you're looking at 3 hours lost right there. Then plus another, say, 4 hours to replace that part. So it's a full day is gone right there, or maybe more than that. So those are the challenges you meet whilst being out here. Like you don't have the availability of supplies of goods and the human resources part and water, electricity. Again, if the generator fails, the solar fails, then we're in the dark, right? There's no way to call someone if we need. It happened before that one of our generators died and we had to buy another one. So the barge takes 6 hours to get here. It's like people were in the dark for a while, and then we got it sorted out. But it's hard. We keep backed up. We back up the backup. That's as good as we have things around here. So we buy a lot for fruits, vegetables. Every trip that a boat does to Belize City, we get fresh fruits and veggies to keep them good. We don't try to keep a lot of frozen meat and all. You have to plan. You have a group of 40 coming. You got to plan how much meat you're gonna use for that week, how much fruits you're gonna need in between the boats going to Belize. We do 2 trips per day. I mean per week. We do a trip at Saturday and we do a trip on Wednesday. So between that time, you got to make sure you have enough bananas. You have to make sure you have enough oranges, enough watermelons, enough pineapples, and egg. I mean, you wouldn't think about the things that you can easily miss that people would just get really mad at. Like toilet paper. It's like, so we have our own mini mart out here. We have our own store that we buy from the stores, stock it up. And these are mostly canned
Mm.
goods, right? And things that you use day to day, like paint brushes, and so we go to our stores. We're almost as stocked as one of a small hardware store because we have to have stuff here for people to use, yeah, and if we need it.
Interesting. So you have your own store, you said, like, and is that just for the resort to use, or do other people use that?
Oh, no, no. This is just our own, yeah. So we buy, we replenish, and we just keep stuff there. But
Mm.
yeah, you got to be that way. Otherwise, like I said, there's no availability of store here. So you don't have a can of tomatoes. Then you have to oh man, you need to go to Belize City to buy another case or something like
Mhm.
pickles. Living in the mainland and living close to the Chinese or Brodies, Angela's Press, Save You, you wouldn't know that the things that you actually miss, you could easily miss stuff and then don't have it, and then you would be in a lot of trouble.
You can't have that in a remote island that's 36 miles off the coast of Belize. That's
Correct.
okay. Yeah. So moving on to visitor experiences, why do people choose to visit Turneffe Island over other destinations in Belize?
Turneffe Island Resort has been in operation since 1960, so well known, first of all, and that's one of the reasons we have the name out there for a very long time. So we have the great great grandfather of someone came here. Then the generation after generation have been coming, and the name has been sticking there, and word of mouth. Oh, you know what? You need to go to Turneffe. It's a unique location. We're located strategically at a very nice location. We're at the southern tip of the atoll, and one of the best places for diving, snorkeling, and fishing. The resort started as a fishing lodge in the 60s. not much availability of water then. So people would bring water from Belize or have drums out here and just would limit it to a few gallons a day. But hardcore fishermen don't care, right? They don't care. They won't even shower if it's up to them. Like, fish slime and get up the next day and go fishing again. They don't really. Fishermen don't care, right? Yeah, they're just here to have fun. But then we started moving on to more of a fancier place. Um, but yeah, that's the reason why people keep coming back here is location, service, very high. We make sure that people leave with a smile and they remember us. And when they go back home, they tell their friends in New York, "Oh, you know what? I was there. You work for a big corporation. There's another 12 people coming from that office to Turneffe." We get a lot of people from Colorado. We get a lot of people from the Texas area, Houston, Dallas. We get people from all over the place. So yeah. So word of mouth for us is what keeps us rolling. Yeah, and just the location. I think the location is magnificent where we are.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what are, in your opinion, what are the major differences that you guests that decide to stay overnight at Turneffe versus the ones that do just day trips instead?
So for us, we do not offer day trips. We are either 3 or 4 night stays. So if you come to us, you're coming here to have a good time. And we'll know your name before you leave. We'll know you well. We'll question you. You'll question us. So that makes us even stronger bonding with people. And then people can remember more. Day to day people, it's harder because some people just come, they just want a bed to sleep for the night pretty much, and then they leave. But we don't do that. Like I said, we do either 3 or 4 nights. So that's the reason why our boats leave Saturday to Wednesday and Wednesday to Saturday. So we only have in the middle of the week, which is Wednesday departure. So you come Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and you leave. Or you come Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, and you leave on Saturday. So yeah. So we don't have. I cannot relate to the day to day visitors for sure.
And you would say that the majority of guests would be staying just like the 3, 4 nights, or would they stay the entire week?
Majority of our guests are here for a week. It's very random that we get people that come just Saturday to Wednesday or Wednesday to Saturday. It feels very short. And we get people that come for 2 weeks. We get people that come for 10 days. The first time people come here, sometimes they do like Saturday to Wednesday, and then they're like, "Oh, we just wanted to test it out," and then they like, "Okay, it wasn't enough for us," and then they come 10 days, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and they're like, "Yes, this is the right fit," but mostly a week. Yeah, so if we get a group of fishers, they're here for a week. Everyone tries to come Saturday and leave Saturday, which makes it easier for logistics and all.
Excellent. Yeah, that was actually my follow-up question. I was gonna ask, when do most people arrive, if it's a Saturday or Wednesday? So that's good to know. Interesting. Yeah. So what do you, your staff, everyone at the resort do to make sure that every guest have a memorable and unique experience?
Well, like I said, everyone follows guidelines given to them on what is required. Main thing is, as in every tourism destination in Belize and in the world, you got to be polite to people, care for them, and our staff care for our guests, and you can see it. And like I said to you, you have happy staff, you have happy customers. So we make sure that our staff stays happy, we treat them well, and in turn, they give back the same service. But also, our market is not youngsters here, it's 60 and up. So our market is a bit older, so we have to make sure that we care for our guests. We do get youngsters, honeymooners, we get spring break people, But yes, our market is a delicate market, so we make sure that everyone is taken care of. You treat them as family. You make sure that you take care of their needs, whatever they need, make their stay as easy as possible and as comfortable as possible as you can.
And they return every year.
Every year, yes.
Uh, Awesome. Okay, so like to chat all about the sustainability, environmental impact of being in a remote island off the coast of Belize. What does Turneffe Island Resort like? How does it incorporate sustainability practices into its operation?
So recently, last year in June, we launched our solar system. So we're running solar currently. There's no generators, there's no emission into the atmosphere throughout the day and into the night. We have battery storages. So we have looked at that. There's a lot of emission from, obviously use diesel generators and they do a lot of that damage into the atmosphere. We're at a really nice place. We get people that are really focused on sustainability. So we want to make sure that they're enjoying themselves and actually seeing that we're doing something towards it. Like we want people to know that we are showing love back to the atmosphere. We want to make sure that we keep the fish safe around here, the mangrove, the coral. We're so close. We're a stone throws away from the reef here, so we have to make sure that we keep everything in line to not be polluting anything around us. So our main thing was the emission, and we've lowered that to less than 50% already just by putting the solar system out. So as soon as the sun hits out, generators off the entire day. And that also reduced noise pollution because then it's like the generator would roar 24/7 before now. I can hear everything around here because there's no noise except for people. We have a carpenter shop and they would be cutting something. I can hear exactly what they're doing then. But yeah, we've been working towards that. We don't buy plastic like plastic soda. We don't buy anything that's a one use plastic. We everything is reusable. We use biodegradable products to make sure that we know that whatever is hitting the water, eventually it's not affecting anything. We have top of the line sewage system which does all the cleansing, aeration of water. We get DOE here every year testing our waters. We pass with flying colors, so really great.
That's the
Again,
Department of what? The environment?
public environment, yeah. They're in charge of making sure that you're doing things right, checking that you're not affecting anything around, and especially us being close to the reef here. They want to make sure that we're not killing
Mhm.
habitats, killing fish, or destroying mangrove, and that's something we don't do, right? So, again, another thing that I learned at the university that they were very big in sustainable development there. I actually got a lot from that when actually putting it to work now here.
That's excellent to hear. Do you think that your sustainability practices during the Highland Resort, do you think that influence this to stay there?
Yes, certainly. We get people here. They send friends, some friends and family come down, and then they tell them, this place, this is what they do. This is the way they run. They have solar. We make our own water, right? We're making sure that we dispose of waste properly. If we have extra wine bottles and we need to make some concrete, we'll use that in the mix to make sure that we're using it back. If not, we're sending it back to Belize City to be taken care of. But yes, not just calling yourself sustainable, but actually showing it. Some people are like, oh, we're green. And when you actually go there, there's not a lot of green happening there, right? There's a lot of gray. So you want to make sure that actions speak louder than words. So you want to show what you have. Every single guest that come here is welcome to visit all of our operation. We don't have anything to hide. You want to visit our dispose room, we'll take you there. You want to visit our water makers, we'll take you there. You want to visit our carpenter shop, or we'll walk you around our entire island. We're very proud of what we have, and we want people to know that and come back. But it does. There's a huge market of people that want to contribute to places that are doing it right, and they want them to continue. We also have TASA, which is the Turneffe Atoll Sustainable Association, and they do monitoring of the atoll. It's a reserve. We're inside of a reserve also. Like, we were grandfathered in. We were here before, and it just happened, and now we're in here. And also, we invite them. Like today, they come in this evening. They'll come in at 3, and they'll talk to our guests and tell them, we've been working on certain projects that are contributing to, you know, development of the reef, or there's a bit of injured coral, sick coral, and they're working on getting it restored. There's a lot of restoration happening. They actually have nurseries where they grow new coral shoots, and they're patrolling the area to make sure that there's no overfishing, making sure that people are not taking undersized conchs and doing illegal stuff that they shouldn't be doing when it comes to the marine life. So we support them fully. We actually contribute to them to be able to continue running their operation. And they come here, they bring their souvenirs, they sell it to the guests. We really promote them to get them moving. We want them to be successful because their success gives us more. We want a healthy reef. We want a reef that's full of a lot of fish. Because at the end of the day, Lorenzo, people don't come to Belize to visit beautiful beaches. Belize doesn't have beautiful beaches, right? There's a few places in the country that may boast of having pretty beaches. I would say probably San Pedro has a little bit. Um, Key doesn't seem to have a lot. Um, Hopkins and Placencia are one of the places that have the nicer beaches, but they're farther away from the reef. We are pretty much on top of the reef. So when people come to Belize and come to these remote islands, they're not here to see the beach. They're here to see the reef. So they want to go and see what a living coral reef looks like. They want to see what lives on a living coral reef. Because if you have a living coral reef, you have a lot of fish life, a lot of marine life around that. That's what people are coming here for.
Great. And what are like the most popular tours that your guests enjoy?
Our best seller is diving. We do snorkeling and fishing. So 3 main activities that we offer.
Yeah.
That's the main thing we do. We don't offer like mainland tours and stuff. So we focus on fishing, diving, and snorkeling. Nature tours, we would
And
take people looking at the coral and explaining to them about that. We're in the middle of it. Yeah.
would you say it's like primarily people interested in diving or fishing or snorkeling? Or,
What happen is we have limited spaces. We only put out, we only have space for 8 anglers, and that's booked
oh,
really quickly. So the anglers are 2 to 1. So we have 2 guests to 1 guide. So that fills out really quickly. Then we have snorkeling, which is 8 to 1, and then diving 8 to 1. So we get big groups of the snorkelers. At some time of the year, we get up to 38, 40 snorkelers. And throughout the year, we get mostly bigger groups of divers. So we get same like 40 divers. We cater for that kind of stuff. So our biggest package would be diving because we have the availability for that. If we had more availability for fishing, then we would have more fishermen because of the location we are. But again, if you have that many fishers running around, then you stress the marine life, you stress the fish. So diving doesn't stress the fish. Snorkeling doesn't stress the fish. This is sightseeing. The other one is catching and releasing the fish. So you put a certain stress on that fish. So if you have 20 boats running on that flat or so, then the fish are not gonna be so happy with you. So um, it's just strategic, right? You gotta balance yourself. So yes,
Yeah.
so diving, snorkeling, we can sell more. For the fishing, it's less. So it's just that balance that we have.
That's really great to hear that you do have the foresight to consider this, and that's a big part of your operation. So that's something new for me. Like I mean, I didn't know, I hadn't heard of it before, so that's really great. I'm happy to hear that. Yes. Okay. Moving on to a few more questions before we wrap up. I'd ask, just a little bit about your staff. I would like to know, how do you ensure that they provide high standards of service?
We don't hire a staff to start working immediately. So if you want to work for us and I see the need of having another staff, we would get them and give them at least a 3 to 4 week training with senior
Mhm.
staff. And we get them, we talk to them. This is the way we run things here. You'll see the way we do things, the briefings we give on the boat, the way you approach the guests can be different. The way you speak to the guests is different. I've seen many operations. I've been around, right? And I've seen the way other people, other guides speak to their guests, and they're not as helpful as we are. We make a huge difference. I'll give you an example. We do a trip to the Great Blue Hole every week on a Tuesday, and we meet a lot of different operators out there. A lot. There's a lot of people come from Cocker, San Pedro, Placencia, Hopkins, Belize City. Uh, there's a lot of people coming. Our guests are treated differently than anyone, and it shows right off the bat. If you were there one day and you saw our operation coming, you immediately knew who we were, even if we didn't have a banner or if we didn't have a logo on. We make sure that we look different than the rest, like we're completely different, and it has to do with presentation and service, right? So, um, there's many places that do it right, but we do it best. We try to keep it running the right way. So from serving your people's food, we make sure that we have someone from the kitchen going with them on that trip. Because if you leave it to the dive master might not know that this person cannot have pineapple, and give them food that contains pineapple, or give them something that contains milk. Or there's people with different allergies, and the last thing you want to do is get someone really sick on their vacation. So we make sure that we have someone from the kitchen going on that trip to make sure that these people are taken care of. If you need special attention, if you need to be walked down the dock and set somewhere, we'll do that for you. We make sure that we personalize our service to our guests. So we make sure that we do this by having people see what we're doing. Like we hire someone, okay, this is the process here. You're not just gonna get to the dock and it's goodbye. No, you gotta make sure that you follow up with these people right through. You look at them looking for something. What do you need? Whatever it is. It's a long list if I was to tell you what it is, but yeah, so you gotta personalize the service, and training again is essential for that if you're hiring someone. And that's the only way you can get people to do what to provide that class of service, right? So even starting from the people raking the beach, you get them to rake the beach. Anyone thinks that they can rake the beach, but you get someone where you show them what to do. If I guess approaches, what to say, what not to say. That as simple as it is.
Um, so do you have any advice for new emerging professionals in Belize who are interested in pursuing a career at maybe a remote resort like the one that you're at? Is there any advice that you can provide?
Like I said earlier, you have to be mentally prepared. First of all, no job comes easy. You never start from the top. You would always start at the bottom, learning everything and moving yourself up. Because at the end of the day, if someone comes and tells me that this is an impossible task, I have done it before. So I'll tell you, And that's not true. I have done it before, and it's totally possible. And it is a timeline that you can do the job with. And it comes to all, right? I'm a dive master, and I know what you will encounter underwater. I'm a fishing guide. I know what it requires for you to actually give the guests the proper service. So if you're planning on doing this, don't think that you're gonna get up there immediately. All right, it takes time, and the reason it takes time is the same reason why you go to school from primary school, right? You can easily, as a human being, be placed in university and excel because your brain capacity is there, but you're missing all the previous training. So it's just a matter of escalating up and learning it right, gaining the experience. And if you're planning on doing this, just be prepared for a ride of your lifetime. You're gonna meet a lot of ups and downs, and it's up to you if you want to challenge that. If you decide that the first hard task that comes to you is too much, then you'll not excel. And life in a whole, right? The fittest survives. So if you think that you're gonna come to an industry that's easy, it's not. You face a lot of challenges. You have your sweet moments, but you also have the sour ones. We have unsatisfied or angry guests that you have to work with, and that's a big challenge. But don't be discouraged. You just gotta keep going. Like everything else, it lasts for a bit and then passes by. And it's just the way you take things. It's the way you approach life and the way you approach your career that can get you up there, right? And life keeps you learning right through. So it's a learning experience every single day, right? So the tourism industry is not an easy one, right? It's like any other job and even more because I'll put, for example, government workers, right? You work 9 to 5, all right, Monday to Friday, and Friday you leave at 4. We work 24/7, 24/7. There's no holiday, there's no Saturday, there's no Sunday here. Every day is another day at work. So you got to be prepared to work and work. And when you're off, you rest. And that's it, right? So you're here to work. And this is what I tell my staff. This is not Party Town. This is not San Pedro. This is not Kikaker. You're not here. You don't have weekends off. You're going to be working here. You're here 3 weeks. And obviously, the staff doesn't work 24/7, right? But they do carry some longer hour shifts. Um, but if you're in my position, then you are working 24/7. Obviously, I don't work 24/7 every day, right? But you are on call. You got to make sure that you're mentally prepared to be out for long periods of time. And that's the reason why it's challenging. A lot of people try it and fail because they thought that they were gonna be here working Monday to Friday and then having a barbecue with the family for the weekend and then back to work, calling in sick. You cannot call in sick here at Turneffe because I'll go check on you, see if you're actually sick or not. It's like being you you work, you live and work at the same place. So I can definitely know if you're trying to put one on me here. So I don't I don't sick either, right? And you know what? I don't get knock on wood, I don't get much sick people here and I don't get sick myself. So it looks like the getting sick and calling in sick is a mainland thing.
That's so funny. And you have worked in the mainland too, so you know what you're saying. That's awesome. Maybe perhaps just like share with the audience a little bit more of what is the work schedule of other people besides yourself? How long do people shifts last? How many hours a day? And is it 1 week, 2 weeks, and then they go back home wherever home is?
Yeah, sure. Take it for example, the kitchen is a department that The kitchen and the servers are one of the hardest long hour working departments. So they would start their day at probably sometime around 5 a.m. and they will be done around 7 p.m. with a break in between, right? Obviously, they have breaks in between, but still, it's a long day, right? If you look at it at that perspective, they work, the kitchen does about 11 hours of days, and the servers do probably like same. Yeah, so that's the longest working hours. So if you're planning to be a chef, or if you're planning to be in the servers department, then those are long hours. Now, when it comes to the other departments like the diving, fishing, and snorkeling, they are easier. More responsibility with the guests. The dive team does 3 dives a day, two morning, one afternoon, typically. So their day starts around 7, and their day is over around 3:30 or so. Yeah, so that's that typical, and that same for the snorkeling team. Now, if you're in the yard staff and you're not supervisor, then that person works between 6 and 4 or six. It all depends. They do a 8-hour shift. Now the supervisor has a little bit more responsibility because then if something happens throughout the night, that's the person I'm gonna go to. It's like, you know what? An AC broke. Someone called me on the phone. I actually have a phone in my room too that people can call from their rooms. So they're like, "Oh, you know what? My shower is not it's not running right now, so the water tank may have gone empty. So we need to switch a tank. So I have to get up, look, call him on the radio. He's like, we need to change the water tank, or I just go do it myself. I know how to do it, so I'm already awake, so I'll just take care of that. So yeah, there's different hours for everyone.
And do they do 2 week shifts, 1 week shift?
Most people on the yard and the chefs, they would do 3 weeks at maximum because it's a bit more pressure, right? Now the dive team, I would run them sometimes up to 4 or 5 weeks, depending on how they feel. But we have cross-trained staff. So the person that's driving the boat this week can be the diver next week, and the diver, the driver. So they alternate because diving is very heavy on your body. The water pressure is really heavy. So we have to have that sort of cross training there so they can alternate. And that takes them off that diving for a week and then gives them the ability to get their body all sorted out again, get that gas out, and then go back again another week. They can do some longer stretches. Again, they have more rest time. They take naps in the afternoon, get up back, eat, and then sleep again throughout the night, get up in the morning, start their day. They have less stress in a way than what the cooks would, like the chefs and the servers would, because they're constant. Every single day is a constant thing, 24/7. Like I said, it's every day, right? For 3 weeks, you're getting up really early every single day. Your body takes a toll. So when you're off, when I go off, the first 2 days, I just sleep. That's what I do.
And how long do you go off for? 1 week or 2 weeks?
1 week. 1 week, and then they have their vacation time also. So they would do 2 weeks then.
The majority of people, where do they live?
We have staff from all over. We try to balance it. We have people from Cayo, San Ignacio area. We have people from Punta Gorda. We have people from Stan Creek. We have people from Corozal, Orange Walk, and Belize City. Pretty much everywhere, yeah.
So in closing, one last question. What projects or initiatives are you currently working on that excites you the most?
Well, we're gonna expand the solar system so that we can go a bit more. So that's something that we've been working on. Getting new engines for my boats, the big boats right now. So that's exciting. So that's a big project itself. Got to take that boat out of the water and redo the wiring, paint it up, and so that's gonna be happening in a few weeks. And on the 24th of August, we close for 3 weeks. So that's when we do a lot of maintenance, especially in the common areas. We can do work around and around in different rooms during guests being here, but the common areas you cannot take care of whilst the guests are here, like the dining room, the bar area, the docks. You cannot work on them because there's always people walking up and down. So we wait and we take 3 weeks every year for downtime, we call it, and we will be working on that. So that's a big project. And then the first week before we open, we have a family weekend, which the workers are allowed to bring their families out to show them where they go and hide for 3 weeks. So their kids appreciate what you're doing for them pretty much.
That's awesome. Okay, that's it. Thank you for tuning in to the Belize Tourism Futures podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insight into Belize's tourism landscape. Don't forget to subscribe